there's a silent fear that follows many people who dream big. What if I achieve everything I've been working for, but lose the people who matter most along the way? Success often carries a price, and in our world today, the price is too often paid in broken families, neglected friendships, and relationships that collapse under the weight of ambition. We've all heard the stories: people who rise to the top of their careers, amass wealth, fame, or recognition. Yet in the quiet hours of the night, they find themselves utterly alone. Success in isolation feels hollow, like climbing a mountain, only to realize no one is there to share the view. The truth is, real success isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become in the process and who still stands with you when you arrive at your destination. Building wealth, reaching milestones, or creating impact is valuable, but none of it compares to the warmth of sitting across the dinner table from people who truly know you, love you, and have walked with you through both victories and failures. Success without love is like having a mansion with no laughter in its halls. That's why the greatest challenge of our time is not just about chasing dreams, but learning how to pursue them without sacrificing the bonds that make life meaningful. So how do we succeed without losing the people we love? The answer lies in balance, in perspective, and in choosing intentionally what kind of life we want to create. Success is not just about the what, but also about the who. Who do you want standing beside you when the spotlight fades? Who do you want to call when you achieve something incredible, or when you fail? If your relationships aren't part of your definition of success, you may win the world, but lose your soul. One of the biggest mistakes ambitious people make is treating relationships as something that can be paused. They believe they can focus entirely on their career, business, or goals for now, and then come back to family, love, or friendships later when things are more stable. But life doesn't wait. Children grow up, parents age, friends move on. Love that is neglected begins to wither. Success often whispers, sacrifice everything now and reconnect later. But the reality is that later doesn't always come. Many people wake up one day with the trophy in hand, but no one left to share it with. The key is to stop thinking in terms of either success or relationships. It's not an either or choice. It's about weaving both into a life that feels whole. It requires courage to say, I will chase my dreams, but I will not abandon the people I love in the process. That means redefining success not just as reaching the finish line, but reaching it while still holding hands with those who matter. Let's be honest, relationships take effort. They demand time, energy, and attention, the very same resources that success also requires. But here's the paradox. The relationships you nurture don't take away from your success. They actually fuel it. When you are loved, supported, and emotionally connected, you carry a strength that no title, no paycheck, no recognition can give. A person who feels truly loved walks into the world with confidence, resilience, and motivation that others can't replicate. Love is not a distraction from success, it's the foundation of it. Think about it. What good is climbing the corporate ladder if there's no one at the top cheering for you? What good is building a fortune if you have no one to spend it on or share it with? What good is a life filled with recognition if no one knows the real you behind the applause? Success, at its deepest level, is about connection. It's about creating something meaningful and still having the people you care about by your side. But this balance doesn't just happen by accident. It must be created with intention. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to prioritize without guilt. Too many people feel guilty for stepping away from work to attend a family dinner, or for taking time off to spend with their partner or friends. They tell themselves, I'll make it up to them later. But the truth is, those small choices are the fabric of a relationship. Success may give you moments of recognition, but relationships are built on the quiet, consistent acts of showing up, being present, listening, sharing. You don't need grand gestures to maintain strong bonds. You need consistency. The 5 minutes you spend calling a loved one just to check in. The daily text that says, "I'm thinking of you." The weekend you protect, not for work, but for being together. These are not wasted minutes. They are investments that create relationships strong enough to withstand the storms of ambition. Another essential principle is learning to integrate, not separate your worlds. Too many people compartmentalize, work in one box, relationships in another, self-care in yet another. But the most successful and fulfilled people blur the lines. They bring their loved ones into their journey. They share their challenges, their dreams, their goals, and they let others be part of the process. When your family or partner feels like they are part of your success, not competing with it, they become your greatest allies, instead of feeling like they are losing you to your dreams. Sometimes, integration is as simple as celebrating small wins together. Don't wait for the big achievement to share joy. Bring your loved ones along the way. Let them see your progress, your struggles, your victories. Let them feel included. Because when you succeed, they'll feel that they succeeded with you. And when you stumble, you won't stumble alone. There's also a deeper layer. Success must align with your values. Too many people chase a definition of success that isn't even their own. It's society's definition. They climb ladders that lead them away from what they truly care about. They trade family dinners for overtime, not because they want to, but because they believe they have to. But ask yourself, whose definition of success am I living by? Because if your version of success requires you to abandon the very people you love, maybe it isn't really success at all. True success is when your loved ones can look at you and say, "We are proud of you," not just for what you achieved, but for how you stayed present with us while achieving it. That is legacy. That is fulfillment. And that is the kind of success that doesn't end when the applause fades. One of the most overlooked truths about success is that it exposes your character. Ambition puts pressure on your values, and under that pressure, who you truly are begins to show. If you believe that relationships are optional, success will make you drift from them. But if you believe relationships are essential, success will only deepen your commitment to them. The question is not whether success and relationships can coexist. The question is whether you have the discipline and humility to make them coexist. Many people imagine success as a straight line. Work harder, achieve more, earn more, rise higher. But life is never a straight line. It's a balance beam. Every step you take toward your goals has to be measured against the relationships you hold dear. Sometimes that means slowing down. Sometimes that means saying no to opportunities that promise money but cost you presence. Sometimes it means being brave enough to redefine winning, not as reaching the top at all costs, but as reaching the top without leaving casualties along the way. This is where emotional intelligence becomes more valuable than raw ambition. The most successful people in history were not only smart and hardworking, they understood people. They knew that empathy, communication, and connection are not weaknesses, but strengths. Think about it. In business, leadership, or even personal goals, your ability to succeed is directly tied to your ability to build trust, maintain relationships, and inspire loyalty. No one achieves great things completely alone. The ones who burn every bridge may rise quickly, but they also fall quickly. The ones who nurture relationships create support systems that last a lifetime. But what about the tension between time and relationships? Isn't success demanding? Doesn't it require sacrifices? The answer is yes, but not the sacrifices we often think. You don't need to sacrifice love. You need to sacrifice distractions. You don't need to sacrifice family. You need to sacrifice people-pleasing. You don't need to sacrifice meaningful relationships. You need to sacrifice shallow approval from strangers. The greatest trap of modern ambition is that people waste their best energy proving themselves to people who don't matter, while neglecting the people who do. Imagine this. You spend your day impressing your boss, clients, or followers, but you come home too exhausted to give your partner, your children, or your parents any real attention. Over time, that imbalance corrodes the foundation of love. The very people who should get the best of you end up getting the leftovers. That is not success, it's slow erosion. Real success means reversing the pattern. Yes, work hard, impress where needed, but never give the best of yourself to the outside world while giving scraps to the people at home. This is why rituals and boundaries are powerful tools. Rituals create connection, even in busy lives. For example, some families have a non-negotiable dinner time, even if it's just 30 minutes. Some partners have a daily ritual of walking together. No phones, no distractions. Some parents create bedtime routines that remain sacred, no matter how busy the day was. These small rituals act as anchors. They remind your loved ones that no matter how high you climb, they are still your priority. Boundaries, on the other hand, protect what matters. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are fences that protect the garden of your relationships. That means setting limits on work emails at night, learning to say no to endless meetings, and refusing to let ambition consume every waking hour. If you do not create boundaries, success will invade every corner of your life until nothing is left for love. Another overlooked element is vulnerability. Many people chasing success feel pressure to always appear strong, capable, and in control. But in relationships, perfection creates distance. Your loved ones don't want the flawless version of you. They want the real version. When you let them see your struggles, your doubts, your fatigue, they don't lose respect for you. They feel closer to you. Vulnerability builds intimacy, and intimacy is what keeps relationships alive during the storms of ambition. If you only show your victories but hide your battles, your loved ones may cheer for you from the outside, but never truly know you on the inside. So, how do you put this into practice? Start by asking yourself a simple question. What am I unwilling to lose in my pursuit of success? Write it down. Is it family dinners? Is it your marriage? Is it friendships you've had since childhood? Once you are clear about what is non-negotiable, you can design your path around it. The problem is not that success requires sacrifice. The problem is that most people never define what they refuse to sacrifice. As a result, they sacrifice everything by default. Here's another practical step. Learn to measure success with two sets of metrics. The first is external. Income, career milestones, recognition, progress toward goals. The second is internal. Quality of your relationships, depth of your connections, time spent with loved ones, emotional health. Every week, evaluate both. If you only measure the external, you might climb the ladder quickly, but discover too late that the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. But if you measure both, you create balance. You remind yourself that the point of climbing is not just to reach the top, but to reach it together. There is also a mindset shift worth embracing. Relationships are not obstacles to success. They are multipliers of success. When you are deeply connected, when your home life is strong, when your heart is secure, you perform better in every area of your life. You make better decisions, recover faster from setbacks, and find deeper motivation. Success built on isolation crumbles easily. Success built on love endures. And let's be honest, people remember how you treated them more than what you achieved. Long after your titles, awards, or business ventures fade, the legacy that remains is how you loved. Your children won't care about the size of your bank account. They'll remember if you were there at their school play. Your partner won't care how many hours you logged at the office. They'll remember whether you made them feel cherished. Your friends won't remember your resume. They'll remember if you stood by them when they needed you most. That is the kind of success no one can take away from you. Finally, there is gratitude. Gratitude keeps success humble and relationships strong. Ambition without gratitude is a hunger that never ends. It consumes everything in its path, including relationships. But when you practice gratitude, you slow down long enough to notice the people who walk with you, to thank them, to acknowledge their role in your journey. Gratitude turns success from a lonely climb into a shared celebration. The deeper you go into the journey of success, the more important it becomes to stay grounded. Success has a strange way of distorting priorities. It convinces you that urgent things are important, and that important things can wait. The phone call from your child can wait. The conversation with your spouse can wait. Visiting your parents can wait. But those waits accumulate into years. And one day, you discover the people you love the most have drifted into strangers. The painful truth is this: if you don't fight to protect your relationships, success will steal them quietly. So how do you stay grounded? It begins with presence. Presence is the most underrated gift you can give to someone you love. Presence means when you are with them, you are truly with them. Not half there, while scrolling your phone. Not physically present, but mentally drafting tomorrow's presentation. Full attention is rare in today's world, and that makes it priceless. For your loved ones, 10 minutes of your undivided presence is worth more than an hour of distracted half attention. Presence also builds trust. When people know you are really listening, really caring, really prioritizing them, they feel secure, even when you are busy or pursuing demanding goals. Trust is not built by grand declarations. It is built in those quiet moments when someone feels seen, heard, and valued. Another way to stay grounded is by practicing humility. Success can make people arrogant, sometimes without realizing it. You begin to believe your goals are more important than anyone else's needs. You begin to believe your sacrifices are greater, your time more valuable. But humility reminds you that success is not a license to neglect the people around you. It reminds you that no matter how far you go, you are still human, still flawed, still in need of connection. Humility keeps relationships alive where arrogance would have destroyed them. Think of humility as the ability to say thank you often, to admit when you're wrong, and to recognize that your achievements are not yours alone. Every successful person is standing on a foundation built by others: teachers, mentors, friends, partners, parents. Success may look like an individual accomplishment, but it is always a collective story. Acknowledging this truth not only keeps your heart humble, but also strengthens your relationships. When people feel appreciated, they give even more of themselves. Another critical habit is intentional time design. Many people say they don't have time for relationships, but that isn't true. The problem is not lack of time, it's lack of priorities. We all get 24 hours a day, and how we spend them reflects what we value most. If you can schedule meetings with clients, you can schedule quality time with family. If you can set deadlines for work, you can set boundaries to protect your personal life. Success requires discipline, and discipline isn't just about working harder. It's about protecting what matters. Practical strategies help. For example, some people schedule relationship appointments the same way they schedule business meetings. It might feel strange at first, but it works because it creates accountability. Others practice the 3-3-3 rule: 3 hours a week fully dedicated to family, 3 hours to friends, 3 hours to self-care. These rules aren't rigid. They are reminders that love requires time carved out deliberately, not leftover scraps of attention. But let's go even deeper. Success without love is empty because human beings are wired for connection. Neuroscience shows that our brains release oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, the chemicals of happiness, through human connection. Love literally rewires our brains to feel fulfilled. You can earn millions, travel the world, achieve fame, but if you are disconnected, your brain will still feel restless, unsatisfied, and lonely. That's why people who have everything on paper still confess to feeling empty inside. They neglected the one ingredient that success alone can't provide: love. And love is not just romance. Love is friendship. Love is family. Love is the ability to be vulnerable, to belong, to be known. Success can bring you followers, admirers, and applause, but none of those things equal true love. Applause fades, followers scroll away, but love stays, even when the lights are off. That is why protecting relationships is not a distraction from your goals. It is the very essence of a fulfilled life. Let's imagine a scenario. You've built the life of your dreams: the house, the career, the financial stability. But the people you love most are distant. You have no one to share your victories with, no one to sit across from in quiet joy, no one to hug when life feels overwhelming. That scenario is not success. It's loneliness wrapped in gold. Now imagine the opposite. Maybe you don't have every dream fulfilled yet,